So, Price is Right. I love this show. I think if I didn't work, I would probably watch it every day, like to get my day going. Because I'd get up at 10 o'clock Central Time.
Yes.
And
that's when it's on.
That's right, because we don't live on the East Coast.
If Price is Right comes on the TV, you know it's 10 a.m.
Right.
So if you're not getting your shit together, you're already committed to not getting your shit together?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, once it comes on, like, okay, so my morning is shot, and I will start at 11. 11 is when I will start. I'm going to watch The Price is Right. But I loved being sick when I was a kid because it meant that I got to watch The Price is Right.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like crap. I was like, man, I love this show so much. They're giving away free stuff.
Yes.
And I love free stuff.
And, actually, now that I think about it, it's a lot of bright colors, flashing lights, casino-type noises.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Some ringing bells. And
you can't see, there's no windows.
Yeah.
So, you don't know how long you've been there.
And attractive women standing next to commercial products. It's actually kind of sick.
Yeah. Well, they know what they're doing. They know what works. And it's been working for, 60 years or something?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
It's a very successful show.
Hey, this is Motherfan Dan, and this is HIMYM Superfans.
Thanks, Motherfan Dan. I'm James. This is my friend Chris over here.
James Hamilton, hello.
This is the podcast where we talk about the CBS comedy How I Met Your Mother.
So, this week, we're going to ruin the show for everyone? That's our goal.
Tonight, we're watching Showdown. It is the 20th episode of the second season, originally aired April 30th of 2007, directed by Pam Fryman and written by Gloria Caldone-Kellett. You might remember her name from some of the best episodes of season 1, including Drumroll Please, which we got tweeted at by Ashley Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So check that one out. We love that episode.
So all of our season 1 content
available now.
Okay. So, Gloria said that she's done a lot of really good episodes, or everything that she's done is good.
Yeah, I really like all the episodes she's written, and there's actually only 5 or 6. But How I Met Everyone Else in Season 3, a great episode. One I might convince Motherfan Dan to do with me if we do the YouTube thing.
Is there some friend stuff in there?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, probably.
I'll find something.
So, Showdown, a.k.a. The Price is Right episode.
Yeah.
And I do like The Price is Wrong.
The Price is Wrong, bitch!
but Barney is so good at it, the price actually is right. Down to, he knows what it is and wastes most of one of the game's clocks down to a few seconds left before he gives one answer, which is the correct answer. So the price is actually right.
Yeah, I haven't asked you this in a while, but that must be your memorable moment.
Well, apparently it was. Yeah. We'll go with that one.
Yeah. Motherfan Dan, do you remember this one?
I've seen it, but I have not seen it in a while.
The one with Bob Barker? The one with Barney's dad? The one where Barney's dad is Bob Barker, or is that too long?
No, I would say it would be the one where the price is right.
Okay. So, James, what do you remember most from this episode?
Chris, what I remember is it is a sort of a detour in this arc and the end of the season 2 where they're setting up the wedding things, and the next 2 episodes are devoted to the Lily and Marshall wedding that was promised in season 1 and never happened, and now finally we get to see it. But before, we got to take a detour from bachelor party to showdown time.
So yeah, have the showcase showdown. This actually it's not 100% departure, because Barney gives all of his prizes to Marshall and Lily as wedding gifts.
Yes.
So there's that. I do like, though, the idea that as an in-between episode between the bachelor party and the wedding, which will start out with the episode Something Borrowed, Ted and Robin, somewhere in this area, have already broken up.
Yes.
Somewhere around this time, and we don't know that yet as an audience.
Right, yes.
We've seen
that's
this
your
show
spoiler,
before.
yeah.
Right there. Yeah, it ruined it for you. Yay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and watch this episode. You can follow along with us if you want to and watch it with us or not. Sort of doesn't matter. Just press this button here. So I like the thumbnail on Netflix for this because you see Barney and then there's like the woman to the right of him on his left.
Oh yeah.
And she doesn't look happy.
No.
Because he's doing so well.
Yes. At least they didn't do the thing that I remember from Price is Right that was kind of a dick move where you bid $1 or $1 more.
Or $1 more or bid $1. Yeah.
Speaking of Seth MacFarlane, there was a Family Guy joke about that. Of one guy who's like 400, 451. Fuck you.
yeah. But you have to be good-natured about it on the show, which has got to be difficult. I don't know. Editing, I guess. If somebody, says something obscene, you just cut it out.
See, that's kind of what I felt like growing up watching The Price is Right and feeling sick. And you love watching the show. And it was fun to watch, and they win a bunch of things, but I could never be that energetic. Like everyone in the audience is so excited.
Yeah, and happy.
Yeah,
happy and excited. They're at energy level 10, possibly 11.
And then they have to do casting calls for that, or weed you out if you're going to be kind of boring and lame.
Can't be a grumpy
to go
goose.
On.
Right.
There was the clip of Aaron Paul before he became famous for Breaking Bad. He was on The Price is Right, and he's that excited kid.
Okay.
He runs up and I don't know if it's early actors that try to audition for being a contestant on The Price is Right.
Yeah, I hear there's a line outside of everyone that wants to get in, and they only pick the people who are at excitement level 9 or higher.
Right. I'm
8 or higher, bro.
I probably would see the line and then just go home.
I could never be that excited.
I'm feeling a little sick. I think I need to go home and
watch this. Yeah.
Take the day off of school and get some grilled cheese and soup. And
Sprite. I was at Sprite when I was sick. That made me feel better for some reason. So, James, you usually like to comment on the use of game controllers when they do this. This looks a little less realistic than usual.
Yeah, they start after the break with a lot of movement, and I think that's kind of what throws off the video game portrayal, is typically it's a little less physical, a little less horseplay, especially among adults, but they need some movement. That's why you've got the giant guy in the green shirt on the red couch next to the guy in the dark suit, and they're wailing their arms around.
Yeah.
And then another sort of visual sting was immediately Ted and Robin come in and they got spaghetti sauce on their clothes, and what the hell's up with that?
And we'll deal with that later. Couple things. One, it looks like that just came out of the box. It looks like it has the sticker on the back that tells you how to put the batteries in there.
Yeah, it doesn't have that discoloration from being used so much.
Right.
If you remember the Xbox 360 wire white controller, it got a little discolored.
Okay. So Barney is saying the retail value of things right now because he's practicing to be on The Price is Right. We haven't figured that out yet, but. We also missed the part early on in the episode where Lily and Marshall are considering spending a week apart.
Yeah.
Before the wedding.
What do you think of that? Did you do that? Did you spend a week apart or any time apart intentionally for this purpose?
No.
No?
No, and I don't know. I don't think that I probably would, but I'm also a lot older than that now, and so I care even less for that kind of idea. But who is that for? Who is it versus at that point? I guess it's so that things are sort of fresh for the wedding night, but they've been together for 7 years. Nothing is fresh, right?
Well, I guess
there's nothing new under the sun at that point.
Maybe if it's a sort of a personal challenge, or it's willful self-deception, I guess, at the worst, that you just spend a couple of days apart so that the first time you see your mate is in their best vestments.
Yeah.
And and you haven't seen them poop or belch in like 3 days. So
yeah.
they're not, they're not human. They're perfect.
For the wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is like the don't see them the day of, and like some people, actually a lot of people I know, like will spend like the one night, the night before.
Right.
Will spend in separate places.
And I also don't know if a lot of women have had this problem where they're too skinny for their dress.
No, it's never happened.
No. A lot of visual stings in this episode. Talk about the movement with the controllers, the spaghetti sauce, and then a lady's bare back. A little faux nudity for 8 p.m.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It is a funny scene.
So they do have a flashback to the Fierro in this episode, and they do not show the odometer, which I'm a little disappointed. But it would have stepped on the whole purpose of the scene. It was a blowjob joke. I have not watched that scene recently, but there was a lot of traffic on that road.
Well, it was night, though, so I mean, it's very, very unlikely that anyone would have noticed. I forgot that was in there. I have not seen this episode in so long. I forgot that. That's a little daring.
Yeah, and we haven't actually had a discussion about the sexuality on the show recently.
Not recently, no.
But it was like a big part of the show, I think, in parts, and maybe that was part of its success. It was a little scandalous.
Yeah. Yeah, the show was actually fairly scandalous. I do want to pause for a moment here and talk about, like, Ted is very funny in this episode, and we're going to completely miss it if we don't point it out. When he's trying to write his best man speech, he's like, I'm Ted Mosby, Marshall's best man, and they both, like, comment on how strong that is. And I think that's funny, because it's there's nothing strong, but it's very normal. Like, there's almost no other way to start that. It almost couldn't have been more bland,
What's next? As Henry David Thoreau once said.
And then Ted locking Barney out after he's made a couple pass-throughs. To do his I'm going down to the front of the showcase at The Price is Right. Victory dance.
He got the come on down.
And then he goes out to try it again, and Ted gets up and immediately locks him out, so that Barney runs in the door. Very funny, but otherwise, Ted sort of glossed over in this episode, so they try to give him a few funny things.
Yeah, he's not typically the physical actor. I mean, that's typically Barney's shtick. I do want to say it does fit well with Barney's character, knowing what we know about the entire series.
Yeah.
He was probably one of those kids who was watching The Price is Right at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I could picture him being home a lot. Tell his mom he was, not feeling well because he was getting picked on at school, and so, make up a reason to not go. And
her mother might know.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, well, he really likes this show. I'll tell him that's who his dad is. So Ted's having a problem here coming up with stuff that Marshall will allow to be said at his wedding. I think that's a legit concern.
Well, yeah, he could not tell the blowjob story, clearly. That was inappropriate.
I agree.
Agree?
Yeah. I was getting stoned with Lily in college is also out.
Funyuns are weed in this, right? I know it's not sandwiches,
did this predate the
you're
sandwich?
Totally over Funyuns. Well, maybe it's the same kind of joke, but I guess maybe not everyone lives into their adulthood and still enjoys Funyuns. And that could just be a joke on Funyuns. No, Funyuns are gross. You don't still do Funyuns, right?
Does this predate the sandwich joke? No, I think
it
might actually be straight up Funyuns, though.
I'm thinking it's a joke on Funyuns.
Yeah. And actually, there's beer cans on the ground next to him, so... Yeah, drinking.
Eating junk food.
This was before they introduced sandwiches, so they weren't smoking pot. They were just having a couple of beers, and Marshall really just wanted some salty pork fat. Mm-hmm. That is kind of a lovely story. The first time I fell in love. And you could tell that story if you let out the chemical part.
Yeah. Wait, is that the Funyuns? Take that, Funyuns.
Yeah.
Right, so because Lily lost too much weight, she's going to eat only fried food. Simpsons did it.
Not for a wedding, though.
No.
We did it. You remember the...
and not for a wedding.
You remember the all fried food challenge, Chris?
Yeah. I remember that.
It's one of my favorite photos. I think it was taken on Angela's Nokia N97 flip phone or whatever. So it's super low res, but the composition was just random. Of all three of us passed out on the floor in different positions.
Yeah, it's like not quite physically ill, but on the border.
I just need to rest for a minute.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. Just
don't want to work the arteries too hard right now.
Just gonna do a post-binge meditation.
Mm-hmm. So this is super sad, where Barney is essentially decided that his TV is his dad, because he knows he's not talking to Bob Barker. He knows that Bob Barker can't hear him because he knows how TVs work. He's decided that the television is actually his dad at that age.
Yeah, and
he comes home to tell it things.
He seems a little too old for it to just be playing. Like, I'm playing with my toys, and this is the toy box that makes images of my dad appear. Trending into the kind of tragically delusional child.
I mean, it's possible that that's just how Ted is telling the story, and that's not what actually happened. But I don't know. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, how is he coming home from school to tell his dad, who airs at 10 a.m.?
How indeed.
Well, he's cutting class.
He's cutting class. He's skipping school to go talk to his dad.
I don't know.
Who was in the TV.
Barney's mom, ordered to perpetrate the lie, has taped a bunch of Price is Right to play on the TV for when Barney comes home from school.
I would not put it above her at all. But yeah, I don't know if that's VCR time or not. Ted is now going to lie in his bachelor party, or in his best man speech about what they're doing, because Marshall won't let him do anything. Won't let him say anything. So they're going to drink chocolate milk at the bar and go home by 10.
Yeah, he takes it to the complete opposite extreme, and just to patronize Ted. But I do like this joke. This is kind of funny. I caught them in the bathroom holding hands.
It feels like this is...
They're actually doing the blowjobs.
Well, I mean, it could be that or anything else. It doesn't... something more than holding hands, and I feel like he's telling a story that actually happened.
Hand stuff.
It's hand stuff. Yeah, hands were involved. In the ladies' room. Is that where they were?
Yes. That's where you take a lady. It's just more polite.
Oh, here we got a flash forward, because these will be happening periodically throughout the show. This is where we see Marshall in a hat, and you have to be asking yourself...
Why hat, Marshall? Why Marshall hat? They do a lot of foreshadowing here, but it's too bad they couldn't have shoehorned in some more of Ted Mosby, the breakdown guy who always gets...
Are you talking about where he it's like a mental breakdown at every wedding that he has to give a toast at?
Yes.
Yeah, that hasn't started yet.
Yes,
that's post Stella.
Yes, and that's all thanks to his friend in air quotes from high school, Punchy.
Yes, Punchy,
who makes a techno auto-tune remix.
Well, it's the Swedes
or
the
Swedes
Finns.
do it.
Yeah,
or the
Finns. One of those northern European countries. Yeah, they do their auto-tune thing for him, and then Punchy invites them to the wedding.
Yeah,
this is back when he was happy about weddings.
Yes, this is before he had his soul crushed in one of perhaps the most humiliating events possible.
Mm-hmm.
So Ted didn't really have a lot in this episode except trying to decide on these stories. And to put a hat on a hat, Ted is the guy who likes to tell stories, and here's a story about the time he had to pick out a story.
Yes.
And it's actually kind of nice. I like what he came up with. It was true. It was romantic, and it dovetailed into Lily's story as well.
And it also points out that we forgot about Barney. What about Barney?
Yeah.
So let's just watch that entire thing at the end of the episode.
Right. So they take a hard left and finish up everything with Barney with the segment that they filmed at the actual Price is Right studios.
Mm.
They can't recreate this, but it wasn't very hard because it was just down the block. Next studio over.
They had to pick something that was on the same channel, right? Like, they couldn't have done the Price is Right if they were on, NBC.
They might have, but I wonder if they chose Price is Right because it is an iconic childhood thing, staying home from school, or if Bob Barker is someone that Carter and Craig really wanted to work with.
Yeah,
their names aren't on this episode as writers, but you assume if they were making a list of I want to meet my heroes, or these are the heroes that I do want to meet, Bob Barker might be on that list.
I wonder if they didn't have some advance notice, or if they hadn't already announced that this was his last year, or that next year was his last year, or something, that he was retiring soon, and so this was not going to be possible in season 4.
Right.
We need to push this up a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about that shove. That looked like a really real and hard shove.
I mean, I know that Neil likes that, when he's slapped to not hold back and actually do it the real character acting stuff. So they probably hired somebody who was okay with a real shove, and probably had just something to catch him, like a mattress behind him.
Right. Yeah. It's not a difficult stunt for a stunt person.
Right.
Just shove me as hard as you can, and I will just fall back relaxed into the airbag.
Yeah.
That's right off camera. This is an excellent character building episode for Barney in that we get a little bit of backstory about his dad. He has some daddy issues here, clearly.
Yeah.
But also this showcase Showdown. They got a little bit of nasty in Barney, too. And he's being a little mean to Millie.
Yeah, and the audience members earlier, where he knows what the answer is, but he does the thing that everyone does as they look around for suggestions, and wrong, and then gives the number that he already knew he was going to give. So, yeah, he gets to be kind of a butt.
Yeah.
The Bob Barker, as his dad, comes back later in the Chain of Screaming episode, where Marshall rips into Barney, because Barney says, you need to rip into somebody, so go and do that to me. And that's one of the things that Marshall attacks him for. Says that, he's created this delusion where you think Bob Barker's your dad, and you've never dealt with that, and some other stuff.
You should really see a counselor, Barney.
Right, yeah, he's yelling at him, but he cares about Barney. He's not trying to do it to be mean. He's just trying to do the exercise.
So another episode that ends with a little post-story tag. We get a little tease of Marshall's night-night tape for Lily.
Yes. Seems like a precursor to the song for Marvin. And there's the robot. There's a part with a robot. And good night, little Marvin.
I love the joke in the stinger is you don't know Ted is behind the camera.
You know that Jason Segel, from other things that he's in, is very musical. So that was fun. That went on for way too long, and I'm guessing that he asked for that. I'd bet $1 on that.
We're short. Just get Segel. Put him in front of the camera.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. I was like, this has gone on way too long. Oh, it's still going. Oh my gosh, he's not done. Since we haven't talked about sex stuff in a while, so the idea is that, as a people, we've accepted that we're prudish enough to where we understand that people have sex, but we never want to hear any specifics about it, because they live together, and Ted's speech, the approved speech, was that they couldn't go a week without spending the night together. And so that's okay, but once you get into details, or you take it out of a nice hotel room that Lily was staying at and Marshall was creeping over there, to visit her, that's okay, but Roadhead is not.
Roadhead is dangerous for other people.
All right, okay. Maybe that was a bad example. But you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, I assumed he didn't want to share that story because it was a blowjob story, essentially. But it's also a Roadhead story, which brings up all sorts of possible questions you don't want to answer from your Nana. What's Roadhead?
Mm-hmm.
So you get the blow while you're driving a car? Isn't that dangerous? In your Fiero?
Yeah, the Fiero. It's a mid-engine two-seater. Okay, so not in a car, but you know what I mean. It's implying stuff is okay, but specifics aren't, is what I'm getting. Is the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, because that way Nana could assume, they just couldn't bear to be away from each other and stroke each other's hair and hold hands.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
hold hands.
His friends could say, "Oh, they just couldn't keep their paws off each other."
Right. I agree. I don't know. There's part of me that thinks it's like that's just silly.
All right, folks, that was Showcase. Thanks for watching that with us. Next week, we're going to watch Something Borrowed. And from the Netflix thumbnail, I can assume that Lily's getting married to somebody.
Actually, it looks like somebody with glasses.
So join us next week, and I will find out what happens.
So check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/group/HIMYM Superfans.
Yep. And also find us on YouTube, that's HIMYM Superfans, or Instagram if you want to see pictures of the cutest little dog in the world.
And you're on Twitter?
I'm at HIMYM_James on Twitter. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Pam Fryman's frying pans. How have I never come up with that before? This is possibly my favorite thing ever. I don't know anyone else would think that's funny.
Pam Fryman's frying pans, now available from PamFryman'sFryingPans.com.
Yes.
Each and every one of Pam Fryman's frying pans is made from 100% cast iron. The best frying pan you can offer. Get the name Pam Fryman. Yeah, it's Pam Fryman frying pans.
Okay. I'm going to need a second before we do the outro.